This is the cemetery plot for the John O. Smith family. The date on the deed of this plot is January 21st, 1886, and it includes 7 graves. The main monument here, the only thing that's legible on here anymore is the name down here, which says J. O. Smith, John O. Smith. And John's grave is over here, and on the top it simply says Father, and then you can read John O. 1830 to 1915. Next to that is the gravestone for Mother, which says Sarah M. 1830 to 1905. And next to this is, you can't really read the name very well, but I'm fairly certain this is the gravestone for Henry O. Smith. It says died January 21st, 1884, aged 33. The plot card actually has his date of death listed as earlier than that. As June 21st, 1884, but whoever typed up this plot card just made a mistake. It's quite clearly a J-A-N there. Going back over here, we have the marker for George D. Smith. It only has the name George on top, and next to it the marker for Ella Smith. These two markers, or these two graves, as well as the one for this one here, Henry O. Smith, they were actually originally interred at Bunker Cemetery, which is a few miles out of town here, this being Eaton Rapids, Michigan. It says that George Smith died April 10th, 1864. Ella died August 27th, 1865. And Henry O. Smith died, as I had mentioned earlier, it's actually January 21st, 1884. However, they were moved to this cemetery, all 3 of these graves, May 13th, 1885. So George and Ella were actually at that other cemetery for 20 years before they were moved here, roughly 20 years. Back over here are the grave markers for Frank E. Pillmore and Dora Pillmore. Dora's grave marker says wife of F.E. Pillmore and the daughter of J. O. Smith. So she was actually one of John Smith's daughters, and she married a gentleman named Frank Pillmore. It has Frank's date of death listed as April 6, 1889, and Dora's date of death listed as August 5th, 1894. It also has her date of birth listed as December 19th, 1856. Died July 29th, 1894. So they actually have it off here just by a bit on the grave card. It clearly says July 29th, 1894. Frank's is not quite legible. It would have too hard to read. There are other inscriptions on this stone, and there's would appear to be some kind of ornamental work, but it's all been worn away through the years being out here in the elements. And really the only thing you can read, and that's not very clearly, is J. O. Smith. So those are the 7 plots in the J. O. Smith plot in this cemetery. This is the plot for the Smiths and the Cranes, this being Thomas E. Smith's plot, that the date of the deed for this plot is September 20th, 1904, and just behind it is the J.O. Smith plot, so presumably Thomas wanted something near his father's grave, so that's why it's located here. It includes graves for members of the Crane family, as well as Thomas Edward Smith and his wife Maggie E. Smith. It simply says Thomas E. 1853-1942, and for Maggie E. it's 1857 to 1906.